There's 1,000 questions you might have when trying to decide which cylinder heads to buy for your Powerstroke. One of the questions we get asked all the time is how to identify if you need 18 millimeter cylinder heads or 20 millimeter cylinder heads. And there's 3 things you need to remember. So when Ford changed from 18 millimeter to 20 millimeter heads, that refers to the size of the dowel pin between the head and the block. And so an 18 millimeter dowel pin will measure 18 millimeters between the head and the block. You can use a pair of calipers and you can measure that difference, and it'll be 18 millimeters, or very close, and 20 millimeters on a 20 millimeter cylinder head. However, when Ford changed that, they changed several other things along with that. They also changed the rocker box to cylinder head dowel pin locations, and they also changed the injector clamps. And so, if it was only the block to head dowel pins, they make a step dowel pin, and you can bolt a 20 head on an 18 millimeter block or an 18 millimeter head on a 20 millimeter block, and that's no problem. However, when you try to install the rocker boxes from your 20 millimeter onto your 18 millimeter or vice versa, and your injector clamps, you may run into issues. So on an 18 millimeter style cylinder head, the dowel pins in the rocker box, from the rocker box to the cylinder head, are the first and the last cylinder. You can see that would line up with the cylinder head, the first and the last cylinder. This is one of our aluminum Icon series cylinder heads, but the dowel pins are just like Ford. So when you go to install that rocker box, the dowel pins will line up at the first and fourth cylinder. This is pretty critical because this is also what houses the rocker arms, and so if the rocker box isn't lined up correctly, you may have rocker arm alignment issues. Also on the early 03 trucks, the early style rocker box will only work on what they call 18 millimeter style cylinder heads. Ford then later changed to what we call a 20 millimeter style head. Ford calls it commonized. And so they have a larger dowel pin location at the first and the third cylinder. And the rocker box would look like this at the first and the third cylinder. You can see that will slide on and locate thusly. And so also the bolt between the rocker box and the cylinder head on a 20 millimeter head will have a 13 millimeter socket and 10 by 1/5 threads. On an 18 millimeter style cylinder head, the bolts will have a 10 millimeter socket head and 8 by 1/2/5 threads. Also, when Ford switched, they changed the distance between the center of the injector to the center of the injector bolt hole. So a T40 clamp came on the 18 millimeter heads. So the distance between the center of the injector and the center of the injector bolt is different between a T40 clamp and a T45 clamp. A T45 clamp, the distance between the center of the injector and the center of the bolt is greater. And so if you try to put a T40 injector clamp on your T45 heads or your 20 millimeter style heads, you may have issues with the injector clamp hitting the valve springs or the rocker box. If you try to install a T45 clamp on your 18 millimeter heads, you may have issues with the injector clamp hitting the injector or side loading the injector and blowing the copper washers out of your injector. The T40 clamps have a square tail to them. The T45 clamps have a rounded tail. We also have some dimensions on our website for the center to center differences. You can also tell by looking at the cylinder heads, the 18 millimeter heads, the center of the bolt hole is closer to the center of the injector bore. On the 20 millimeter cylinder heads, the injector bolt hole is in the center of the injector bolt boss and is slightly further away. There's a few other ways to tell. Some people talk about if the dipstick handle is round or square or yellow, etc. It's not always 100%. Obviously, the dipstick can be changed. Also, the heads can be changed. We talk to customers all the time that had one head changed or 2 heads changed, sometimes under warranty at the Ford dealer, sometimes Lord knows where. And so you can also measure the freeze plugs before you take the cylinder heads off. If you, on a factory cylinder head, some of the aftermarket stuff is different, but on a factory cylinder head, you can measure the freeze plug hole on the outside of the head, either on the front or the exhaust side of the cylinder head. If it has a 28 millimeter freeze plug, it's an 18 millimeter cylinder head. If it has a 32 millimeter freeze plug, it's a 20 millimeter cylinder head. Many of these were changed by Ford and other dealerships when even the vehicles were under warranty, and Ford had so many problems with these and head gasket issues over the years that Ford actually released a technical service bulletin saying you can remove the dowel pins. So you could remove the dowel pin from your 18 millimeter style rocker box and bolt it on a 20 millimeter style or a commonized style cylinder head. In my opinion, that's not the best way to do it, but Ford has technical literature saying that that's okay, and customers do it all day, every day, and don't have any problems. Again, you still want to make sure that you're using the correct injector clamp, because if you're using the wrong clamp and the wrong head, you'll probably have injector sealing issues or potentially clearance issues between the clamp and the valve spring. So if you find yourself in a position where you ordered the wrong set, or the heads that you took off don't match what you ordered, we'll be happy to help you any way we can. We have a conversion kit that includes the rocker boxes, the dowel pins, and the injector clamps. And we can convert you from 18 to 20 or from 20 to 18. If you have any questions, please give our sales team a shout. Shoot us an email, Facebook, Instagram, etc. If this video was helpful, please like and subscribe, and let us know. We'll keep making more.